Hello, friends.
Hello.
It is indeed Purim.
What?
Love the glasses, Cantor.
That is indeed Purim.
I know. How is everybody? Good to see you. Where's your costume? How many of you are named Esther? I know one. Any of you have a Hebrew name Esther? Exactly. Elaine, you are. Susan, what's your Hebrew name? Do you know, Susan? You're muted. Susan, unmute yourself.
Here I am.
What's your Hebrew name, Susan?
Hi, Ruska.
Wow. Very nice. Karen, do you know what's yours?
Karen.
Karen, of course.
Hang on. Am I muted?
Howard, what's your
Karen?
Hebrew? Yeah, I hear you, Karen. What's your Hebrew
My
name?
Hebrew name is Tzvi, and my costume is from the part of Zoom that you can't see.
Okay.
I see.
Here now I'm a leopard, black and white leopard.
Nice.
That's my costume.
Fantastic.
Nice. You can go into
My
video
costume
filters.
is left over from camp and campus.
All right. Well, we don't see it, but we believe you. Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
I was
And
gonna
the Great Neck North sweatpants.
Oh, North. Elaine, at least we can see you now.
I don't know why. I don't know how.
That's good. Don't knock it. We can see you. Mayor, did Tara give you permission to wear the boa?
All right. As people are coming in, why don't we start with a song? Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Layehudim, Masechot Rashanim, Zmirot Rekudim. Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Bahar Hashanim. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Layehudim, Masechot Rashanim, Zmirot Rekudim. Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Bahar Hashanim. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Layehudim, Masechot Rashanim, Zmirot Rekudim. Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash, Bahar Hashanim.
beautifully beautiful. All right. Well, we're at Shushan Purim, and the celebrations in Israel and Jerusalem have started very seriously tonight, more so than yesterday. But it's fun to gather. Turns out, I guess we could have been in the parking lot, but we're gonna have a lot of fun here.
I have a question. What is the difference between regular Purim and Shushan Purim?
It's a great question.
Is that when you go and get your shoes shined?
Exactly. When you get your shoes shined, and when you live within a walled city, and there are all the rules behind it, are all very technical, and every year I have to try to remember what it is. But because Shushan is a walled city, so wherever in the world you are, if you live in a walled city, it's very specific to that. So.
I learned that in Dubrovnik, Croatia, it's still a walled city, and so the small Sephardic Jewish community there, like Shushan Purim, that's their jam.
Yeah, there are a lot of cities around the world, or some. I've never even thought about like how many are there and so forth. But yeah, it's the jam. It's the jam, exactly.
In the Game of Thrones, they celebrate Purim on Shushan Purim.
Exactly.
Lots of walled cities.
Exactly. All right. What's next, Cantor?
Well, we can sing another song. And actually, if let's see if I can screen share. I don't know if I can screen share. Oh, I can screen share. I've been given the gift of screen share. Okay. Let's do this one. Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name. He lied and lied about the Jews, though they were not to blame. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be, and wash some home in Tashin. And Esther was a lovely queen of King Ahasuerus. When Haman said he'd heard us all, oh my, how he did scare us. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be, and wash some home in Tashin. Esther had a cousin, his name was Mordecai. He asked her, can you help us please? And she said, of course I'll try. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be, and wash some home in Tashin. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be, and wash some home in Tashin.
Very nice. All right. So we're going to have a little fun and reenact the Purim story through the abbreviated Megillah that we have. Had we all been in the parking lot together, as you drove in, as you arrived, we would have handed you your paragraph, your chapter, sorry. And so we're going to, Cantor, we're gonna screen share the chapters, yes, and we'll take either volunteer or we'll ask different 10 of you to share with us that specific chapter.
I just want to point out, there's this important concept in the Megillah and in Purim generally of the nahafochu, that everything is turned upside down, everything is reversed. And of course, we saw the forecast, and there was 100% chance of rain tonight. So, out of an abundance of caution, we shifted online, and of course, it's pristine and beautiful out, not a cloud in the sky. So, in the true spirit of Purim, the weather was 100% wrong. So, thank you for sticking with us. We really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to pull up the Megillah. And
it's a little bit like the images last night of David Ben Gurion, upside down.
Yeah, just in a weather report. Which, exactly. By the way, that's pretty normal too.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm actually, you know what might be a good idea? Well, I was going to say maybe we put the link for this in the chat, and then people don't have to read off their screen. But I'll put it in the. I'll screen share nonetheless as well. Okay. So change viewer copy. Good. Okay. Now I can screen share it. Here we go. And I'll put this link in the chat as well, so you can adjust how big it is. I know that's always helpful for me. Okay, so here we have chapter 1, and the first person on my list under Rabbi Meir is Elaine Markowitz. So Elaine, why don't you unmute yourself and be our narrator for chapter 1.
You're still muted.
Still muted.
Well, I'm trying.
There we
Okay.
go. Now you're successful.
Okay. I have a chat right smack in the middle of it. How do I get rid of that? Okay. In the days of Ahasuerus, who reigned over 127 provinces, from India to Ethiopia, 3, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a banquet for the nobles and princes of the provinces, the power of Persia and Media, 9. At the same time, Vashti the queen made a banquet for the women, 10, on the 7th day, when the king was merry with wine. He commanded, 11, to bring Vashti, I won't get the numbers. He commanded to bring Vashti the queen, I have to move it up, because mine is not going up, before him wearing, no, hold it, wearing the royal crown.
We should add there only the royal crown.
Yeah.
But she refused to come, and the king was very angry. He said to his wise men, "What shall we do to Queen Vashti, because she has not performed my command?" And they answered, "Vashti the queen has wronged not only the king, but all the people who are under your rule. For all the women will hear of her," move it up, doesn't go up, okay, "action, and shall despise their husbands, because she refused the king's command. Therefore, let a royal command be written that Vashti shall never again enter the presence of King Ahasuerus, and let the king choose a queen more deserving than she is. Then all the wives shall respect their husbands, whoever they be."
This is a great moment of Jewish feminism, wouldn't we say?
Yeah.
It's a great moment.
Okay.
Share your thoughts about it in the chat, or Cantor, or someone was going to.
Oh, I was just going to point out that this is the advice of this that's given here by the advisors is one of the 7 princes of the lands. He's a rather comical character named Mekumen, and he in creating this ridiculous argument shows what a farce the court was. So it's kind of written into the fabric of the Megillah that these are no wise men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why don't we ask Elaine Springer? Oh, yes. The advice pleased the king, so they sent letters to every province according to its writing, and to every people in their own language, so every man should rule his own house. Okay, thank you, Elaine Markowitz. Elaine Springer, why don't you go next? Chapter 2.
We're only allowing people named Elaine to read.
Yeah, so everyone has to rename themselves Elaine.
Okay. Sometime later, when the king's anger had subsided, he found he was missing Vashti. So the king's servant said, "Let beautiful young virgins be sought for the king, and let the girl which pleases the king be queen in place of Vashti." The king liked the idea and agreed. Now in the capital, please rise up. Now in the capital Shushan lived a Jew by the name of Mordecai, whose family had come there as exiles from Jerusalem. And he brought up Esther, for she was an orphan. She was shapely and beautiful, and when her parents died, Mordecai had adopted her as his daughter. So when the king's decree was heard, and when many girls were gathering in Shushan, Esther too went to join the king's harem. Now Esther had not revealed her people or her origins, for Mordecai had said it would be better that she should not mention it. Every day, Mordecai would walk by the court of the harem to see how Esther was. There's something I can't say. Okay, whoop, how Esther was doing. After more than 3 years, it was Esther's turn to go to King I can never get this. Ahasuerus. He realized that Esther was different from all the other women, and she found grace and favor in his sight. So he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. About this time, Mordecai overheard 2 of the king's eunuchs, Bigtan and Teresh, plotting to kill King Ahasuerus. He told Esther, and Esther informed the king. Whoop, back down. Thank you. And informed the king. When the matter was investigated, it was found to be true, and they were both hanged, and it was recorded in the king's records.
All right. Okay.
Yes, very
Why don't
good.
we go to Elaine Herman next? Elaine Herman, will you please unmute yourself?
There we go. Sometime later,
Sorry.
King Ahasuerus promoted Haman and put him in charge of the court. All the king's servants knelt and bowed low to Haman, but Mordecai would not kneel or bow, for he told them that he was a Jew and would bow only to God. When Haman saw this, he was filled with anger, but he decided not to lay hands on Mordecai alone, having heard who his people were. Instead, Haman plotted to destroy all the Jews throughout the entire empire. Haman said, "This promotion means nothing to me so long as I see that Mordecai the Jew sitting at the palace gate, and Zeresh his wife and all his friends, and said to him, 'Have a gallows made 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak to the king that Mordecai may be hanged on it.'" The idea pleased Haman, and he had the gallows made. Haman cast Purim, that is, dice or lots, to select the 13th day of the 12th month, that is, the month of Adar. Then he said to King Ahasuerus, "There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom, and their laws are different from those of every other people. They do not keep the king's laws. Therefore, it is not in your majesty's interest to tolerate them. If it please the king, let it be decreed that they may be destroyed. And I will also contribute 10,000 talents of silver to the king's treasuries." Pay for play.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cantor, before we go on, can I just add a little commentary?
Of course.
You go down a little bit. This is still chapter 3.
Oh, yeah, this is still chapter 3.
Oh, did I interrupt? Oh, I'm sorry, Howard.
That's okay. Go ahead and read, Rabbi.
I just wanted to, if you go up a tiny drop, Cantor. So right there. This is a really, I don't know, we asked the question, we could, like, what is it that what's Haman's currency of promoting hatred and destruction of the Jews? And there's this extraordinary commentary. It says there is a certain people scattered and dispersed. The Hebrew is interesting, mifuzar, mifurad. And there's an interpretation of this that actually, we think that Haman's currency was, he offered all this money, thousands of talents of silver. But there's this very, I think important idea that what Haman was capitalizing on was not actually the silver, but on something else. Anybody have a guess what this idea is? Focusing on the word, this people that's scattered and dispersed. It's a little bit harder. It's not really, the Hebrew is different from that. Mifuzar, Mifurad. The Hebrew suggests it's not just about physical distance between us, but it's a people that's very divided. And so sort of this deep, he was othering a certain people. Okay, that's true, Elaine, but what he was doing was actually capitalizing on our own divisiveness, our internal divisiveness. It's a much, much different way of understanding it's kind of, you might think it's a heretical way of understanding the Esther story, but it's actually quite consistent with many, many other commentaries about the worst moments of Jewish life. That really what was going on, the root of it was our own dispersiveness between us, our divisiveness. So anyway, okay, where we go on, Cantor, or Howard, forgive me for interrupting you.
Okay. So the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to him, I give these people to you to deal with as you think fit. So the decree was issued in the king's name and signed with the king's signet ring to destroy, massacre, and exterminate all Jews, young and old, children and women, on that day.
Thank you, Howard. Okay, let's pick another Elaine to read.
Exactly.
Let's see. How about Elaine Perlman? Elaine Perlman, please unmute yourself.
I haven't been in Elaine.
Perfect.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. Chapter
Okay,
4.
Chapter 4?
Yes, please.
Okay. When Mordecai discovered what had happened, he cried with a loud and bitter cry. In every province, everywhere, the king's decree came, and there was great mourning amongst the Jews, and fasting and wailing. Mordecai told Esther what had happened and asked her to go to the king to plead with him for her people. But Esther replied, everyone knows that whoever comes before the king without being called is to be put to death, unless the king should hold out the golden scepter that they may live, and I have not been called to come to the king for a month.
Oops.
I went too high.
Yep.
Do you think that you, of all the Jews, will escape with your life because you are in the king's palace? On the contrary, if you remain silent at this time, relief will come to the Jews from another quarter. But you and your ancestors' house shall be destroyed. But who knows? Perhaps you have attained your royal position for just such a crisis as this. Do I go on?
Please.
Yeah.
Embody your inner Esther.
Then go, assemble all the Jews of Shushan, and fast for me for 3 days, night or day. And also, my maidens will fast likewise. Then I will go to the king. Though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did as Esther had said.
Very good. Thank you, Phil. Why don't we ask Elaine Wise to read next? Elaine Wise. That would be Rosalind Wise, actually, but Elaine, if you're not chasing after you and yours.
Hi. How
Hello.
did I get Elaine Wise?
Oh, we're only calling on people named Elaine. We decided.
So I don't have a book in front of me. I would be reading off the screen.
Can you?
I cannot promise uninterrupted reading.
The more noise, the merrier.
Like there was just a balloon that popped. I don't know if you heard it.
Yes.
Great.
You didn't mean to pop our balloon, but a balloon got popped.
Esther, right? Sir, if it seemed good to the king, let the king and Haman come to a banquet that I am preparing for you. Then the king said, here's the king. Do I do the king too?
Oh, yes, please. In your most kingly voice.
Yeah. Make Haman hurry, that he may do as you have said. Oh, see, Eliza, can you take that off? Sorry, I can't see the whole thing because there's.
That's okay. We know you have your hands full.
We fixed it.
We appreciate it. We're going to shift to the Verkmans. Let's have the Verkmans read chapter 6.
Wow, look at you guys. You look great.
That night, the king could not sleep, and he ordered that the book of records be brought, and they were read before the king.
And they read about Mordecai denouncing Biggan and Teresh, the villains who had plotted to kill the king.
Go ahead.
What honor and dignity has been done to Mordecai for this? Here, let me check the year. Nothing was done for him, sir. What nothing? Who is in the court at present? Haman had just entered the court of the king's palace. So the king's servant said to him, "Behold, Haman is standing in the court. Haman, let him come in."
So Haman came in, and the king said to him, "King, what shall be done to the man whom the king wishes to honor? Whom would the king wish to honor more than me?"
To the king, sir, from the man whom the king wishes to dishonor. Let the king's royal clothing be bought, and the horse that the king rides upon, with the royal crown set upon its head, and let this clothing and horse be delivered at the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may dress the man whom the king wishes to honor, and lead him on horseback through the streets of the city, proclaiming before him, "Thus shall be done to the man whom the king wishes to honor." Excellent. Excellent. Hurry and take the clothing and the horse, as you have said, and to do so to Mordecai the Jew. Omit no detail of what you had said. Glassing, flummoxed, angry.
Keep going.
Go ahead, Nathan. So he had. We lose the Verkmans.
So we had to take clothing and the horse and dress Mordecai and lead him on horseback through the streets of the city and proclaim before him, "Thus shall it be done for the man whom the king delights to honor."
He brought Mordecai back to the palace gate and then hurried Hokmeh, his head covered in mourning. And he told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him. But they said to him, "If Mordecai, before whom you have stumbled, is a Jew, you will not prevail against him. You will surely fall before him." Whilst they were still consoling him, the king's eunuchs came and hurried to bring him to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Okay, thank you, Verkmans.
Verkmans, well done.
Okay.
You guys win the award for the costume. I'm in close behind second place. Ooh, is that a guitar string that? Oh
No, my earpiece fell out and got wrapped in my guitar strap, so I had to fish it out there. I just had one question there. One thing that I didn't understand was this word "hokme." Hurried "hokme," and I was wondering if you knew. Is that a Persian term? Is that an Aramaic term, Rabbi? Something from deep in Talmud?
I have a feeling it's a Kabbalistic typo.
Hokme. Yes. Similarly, I was wondering, so he had to take the clothing and the horse and dress Mordecai. Did Mordecai get dressed in a horse? Did he get dressed up as a horse?
Maybe that's what it means. Maybe.
And was it the front or the back end? I'm not sure. Okay.
Good point.
Chapter 7. Chapter 7, why don't we call on Elaine Nevins?
So the king and Haman came to feast with Esther the queen, and the king asked Esther once more, "What is your petition, Queen Esther? And it shall be granted, even to half of the kingdom." It's very generous. If I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me as my petition, and my people as my request. For we have been sold, me and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to be wiped out. What? Who is he, and where is he that presumes in his heart to do this? The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman cringed in terror before the king and queen, and one of the eunuchs said to the king, "Behold, there is gallows 50 cubits high, standing at Haman's home, which he built for Mordecai, whose words saved the king." "Perfect, hang him on it." So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai, and the king's anger was abated.
All right, thank you, Arlene.
Elaine Evans.
Yes, I'm thanking people by their actual name. Okay, so how about Elaine Ellman, aka Michael Ellman? Would you read chapter 8 for us, please? And hold on, I'm just checking to see something. Okay, good. We'll go back up. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Here we go.
That very day, Ashkaveros gave the estate of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, to Esther the queen. Mordecai presented himself before the king after Esther explained how they were related. And the king took off his ring, which he had taken back from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther put him in charge of Haman's estate. Then she said, "If it please the king, let it be decreed to revoke the plans devised by Haman to destroy the Jews who are in all the king's provinces. For how can I bear to see the evil and destruction that shall come to my people?" But King Ashkaveros said to Esther and Mordecai, "Unfortunately, once the decree has been decreed in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring, it can never be revoked. However, you may write about the Jews in the king's name as you think best and seal it with the king's ring." The king's scribes were called, and they wrote in the king's name to every province according to its writing, and to every people in their own language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language, and sealed it with the king's ring, permitting the Jews in each city to gather together and to fight for their lives, killing anybody that attacked them. And Mordecai went out from the king's presence in royal clothes of blue and white, with a magnificent crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple. And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. And in every province and in every city, the Jews enjoyed light, gladness, happiness, and honor.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Now, I do believe in chapter 9, there's a, it's either 9 or 10, yep, right here, there's this listing of all these names of the sons of Haman, and the tradition is, one tradition is that you recite their names in one breath, and as it appears in the Megillah, their names are listed vertically, one after the other, forming the height of the gallows. So whoever we call on, the goal is to be able to say them all in one breath. So if there are any volunteers.
It's also added to that is a little competition in one breath and who can say it the fastest.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We
If
could
there are
have,
any,
have a little bit of a competition here.
if there are any volunteers or a contest for this who want to participate,
I'll be the timekeeper.
okay.
Nathan,
Anyone?
you think you can do this? How fast do you think you can do it?
They're debating. Okay.
You do it. You want to do it?
What do I do?
You have to say the names really fast.
We have to.
Yeah. So
oh, sorry.
I'll compete against you, Nathan. How about that? We'll have a contest between you and me, or maybe if your sister wants to compete too, or if the wise, I see a panda bear. I don't know if I see any wises. I see a panda bear. Okay, it's all good. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll have a contest between the youngins. Okay. So just so you know, wises, there's a list of 10 names of the sons of Haman, and the goal is to try and say their names as fast as possible in one breath. So it's the wises versus the Verkmans. All right.
Boy.
Nathan's gonna read for us chapter 9. Go ahead.
So on the 13th,
You ready, Eliza?
the enemy had planned to have power over them. The very opposite happened. And so it was that day they dealt with their enemy on the 13th of Adar and rested on the 14th, making a day of feasting and merrymaking, upset in Shoshan, capital where the fighting lasted 2 days. And they killed 500 men, including
You have to go. These are fast.
Parastana, Dolphin, Aposta, Porada, Adela, Pasta, Arasai, Arisai,
Vayasta.
Okay, we have to do this separately to have a really efficient.
Yeah, all I heard was pasta.
Yeah, I don't know.
I heard.
These were supposed to read the ones.
Yeah, here. Let me try it, Rabbi. Let me try this first.
I'm gonna
Okay.
time you. I'm gonna tell you
Time me?
on
Right.
3. I'll tell you to start. Okay.
Okay, and wises and Verkmans, if you can mute for a moment.
And it'll be a very fair and even competition. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Pashandata Dalphon Asapata Porata Adalia Aridata Pamasha Aristai Aridai Vayazata.
7.77 seconds.
Okay, that's the time to beat. So
who's next? Who's next? The wises or okay, Nathan or I don't know who on the Verkmans. Okay, I'll give you the time. Okay, I'll count 3, 2, 1, and then I'll say go. Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Chandana, Dalman, Aspada, Porasta, Adalia, Arindata, Parmashana, Arisha, Ardai, and Vazada.
7.76 seconds.
Wow.
Beat the cancer by 1/100th of 1 second.
Wow. Okay. How about a panda? Let's hear from a panda. I think panda is one of the names that are listed. Okay, ready, Rabbi? You count them down. Are you ready, wises?
We're going to try.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
The countdown.
3, 2, 1, go.
Rashava, Dolphin, Aspada, Porada, Adalia, Aridata, Parmashta, Arisai, Aridai, and Vaisata.
7.78 seconds. You were 1/100th of a second slower than the cantor and 2/100ths of a second slower than Nate. Wait, who was it? I forget it for the Verkmans. Was it you, Nathan? I forget. All right. So
I think we should time the rabbi.
All right.
All right, I'll count you down, Rabbi. 3, 2, 1, go.
Marshandata, Dalphin, Spata, Parata, Dalia, Aradata, Parmash, Arasai, Aridai, and Vaizata.
Wow, he smoked us all. 5.13 seconds.
Oh my gosh. You sure you didn't cheat on my behalf? Because you know my feelings are easily hurt.
What do you say? I think everyone deserves an award. Everyone.
Contest was rigged.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was rigged.
What's the rest? I only see let's ass. ASS. That's what I see on my screen.
What? Oh, let's continue. Okay, those were the names of the 10 sons of Haman,
Assault the palace.
the
Exactly.
enemies of the Jews. And only on the 15th day of Adar did they rest, making it a day of feasting and gladness. Then Mordecai sent letters to all the Jews that were in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus, both near and far, that they should observe the 14th day of the month of Adar, or the 15th day each year, to remember when the month was turned from sorrow to joy, and from mourning to a holiday, and they should celebrate days of feasting and joy, and of setting presents to one another, and gifts to the poor. Okay, chapter 10. Chapter 10. I don't know who hasn't read yet. That isn't on camera. I see Susan. Susan, to read chapter 10. If so, unmute yourself. No? Okay.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
She got it. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And Mordecai at the Jew ranked next to King Ashkaverosh. He was great among the Jews and was popular with the multitude of his people, seeking their good and speaking for their welfare. The end.
Very, very popular amongst the Jews, the most popular ever. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. The end. Wow, there are 10 pages and chapter 10. Okay. And thus concludes our Megillah reading.
Wait, let me just do the last verse. Ki Mordechai Yehudi Mishnei Lemelech Achashverosh Begadol Hayudim Veratzui Lerov Echav Doresh Tov Le'amo Vidover Shalom Lechol Zaro. All right. So, my hair seems to be moving to the side of my head. Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe you need a new perm. Maybe you need a new hairdresser.
Exactly. I think I definitely do. There's no question. You're right about that. All right. All right. Anyone have a? Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I'm just curious. Anyone have a deep or superficial question or idea about Purim? Anybody? Wow, that is a deeply profound insight into Purim, Cancer. You're doing great.
Woof. Woof, woof, woof.
Exactly. Yay. All right. Well, here we go. So I think we should sing something. Go back to our song list, Cantor, and then
all right.
And then maybe we'll our last two things will be moving into Havdalah, Kaddish, and Havdalah.
That sounds like a good plan. Here we go. I'm thinking that there's a good song that is pretty easy. I'm going to pull it up on the screen, see if I can make it a little bigger so everyone can read it. Okay, I'll screen share it. And it's about that reversal that the rabbi talked about earlier. And the words are Utsu Eitza Ve Tufar. They've devised schemes against us. Dabru Davar Velo Yakum. They made their declarations, but they won't be fulfilled. Ki, because Imanu El, God is with us. Utsu Eitzu Ve Tufar. Dabru Davar Velo Yakum. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום. הוצאו עצו ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל. הוצאו עצה ותופר, דברו דבר ולא יקום כי עמנואל.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right. You know, if we were to go outside, I'm looking at the sky.
I can see it's Techelet Mordechai. It's the color of Mordechai's blue vestments.
Yes, very nice. Oh, you're right. You're right. It's kind of a cool color that you pointed out here.
You know what else is cool?
The Verkmans have a nice frame. I like that. Is that the first? Yeah. Oh, and look, man, you guys are so talented. How do you do that? You need to teach the rest of us how to create these great costumes out of nowhere. I've had the same costume the whole night, and you've had like 6. How do you do that?
It's because I try to do everything in 3D.
I see. Because you have God on your side.
He Emmanuel, because God is with me. At least the Zoom God.
Exactly.
It's because I'm a college graduate. I'm very, very smart about these things. Or it's either that, or I'm a pirate and I stole everything from somebody else. All my knowledge.
All your knowledge, all your ideas.
Or I'm just one of a kind, Rabbi. I'm a unicorn. Well, that's not the unicorn, but it's close.
A unicorn. Yeah. Okay. Very good. That was Where's the unicorn? Let's see.
Oh, I lost it. You know what? I must be getting kind of tired. I must be getting ready to go to sleep.
Yeah. It happens. It's late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of getting late.
Yes.
Okay, I thought it was something else.
Wait, is this?
Here's the unicorn. Here's the unicorn.
Is this comedy night? Did we already morph into comedy night?
Speaking of comedy night, make sure you sign up for comedy night on the 13th.
2 weeks from tonight. From right now, 2 weeks.
We promise it'll be much funnier than this.
Much. Is Stan around? I can't see. Is Stan in the mix?
I think Stan's on hearing this on the phone and nodding his head.
I thought I see. There's Jordana, right. I didn't know if anyone wanted to offer a much more informative plug for comedy night, but we'll set up for us. All right, so why don't we maybe we'll transition. Are you ready for us to transition to a more serious mode, Cantor, or no? I'm fine for you to continue the Purim mode.
I'm fine to transition. You know, it is a moment from transitioning from Shabbat into the rest of the week. So we've had our fun, and we'll shift to our Havdalah. So you have all the pieces there, Rabbi?
Yeah, and before we do Havdalah, might we move to a Kaddish moment?
Yes, those who are observing a yortzeit or who are in Avelut and mourning, we invite you to say Kaddish, and
I
we
wonder if
will.
maybe wait, is Ivan, or you, Ivan, would you want to lead us in Kaddish? I see your.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll
Okay,
put it on
so
screen for you.
Okay.
if
I'll put
anyone
it on
wants
screen for you, Ivan.
to, there you go.
There I go.
Who wants to rise? It's a beautiful thing for those who are not clear. Let me just share a thought, Ivan, that Ivan and a handful of others who lost loved ones, and you all will offer their names. You can do it out loud, and as soon as I stop taking up space. But they've come together on a daily basis, a nightly basis, to remember their loved ones and say Kaddish together. And it's a very beautiful, we as Jews have been doing this for generations, but it's actually somewhat new for us at Beth-El to have a group of folks who are striving on a daily basis, or as close as possible, to do it as well. So, Ivan, why don't you share your mom's name, and then Jordana, your dad and grandma, and anyone else will unmute yourselves so you can share the name of a loved one. Why don't you start us off, Ivan?
Yeah, I'm remembering my mom, Anne Hanaliba Bat Yisrael Moshe Vasara.
Wonderful. Jordana, are you there?
Yes. Oh,
I know you're there.
can you hear me? Thinking of my dad, Abraham Yitzhak Ben Moshe Besheva, and my grandmother, Sheva Bat Shmuel Behinda.
Beautiful. Arlene, thank you, Jordana.
Yes, I'm remembering my husband, Michael Mikhael Yosef Ben Abraham Basara.
Okay. Howard, I know you're remembering.
Gloria Orleans Hornwood and Evan Horowitz.
Okay. Maybe I'll just go through the whole list. Linda Goldenberg.
I'm remembering my parents, Shirley and Seymour Burke.
Okay. Elaine Springer.
Alan Walder.
Okay. Let's see. Elaine Markowitz.
Elaine, you have to unmute.
You want everybody unmute yourselves. Actually, I wonder if we can. It's all right. We can take our time.
I think I can't find, am I unmuted now? No?
Yes, you are.
We hear you. We hear you.
Yes. My parents, Minnie and Irving Markowitz, and my loving husband, Stanley Markowitz.
Wonderful. Karen Siegel.
March 7th, my sister, Claire Louise Siegel, be 10 years. My cousin Robert Rothstein last month, pancreatic cancer. And my beloved family, and for all those who have no one to say for them.
Thank you, Karen. Michael Ellman, are you remembering anyone at this time?
No, I don't.
Okay. Thank you, Michael. And Berkmans and the Wises, if you are, feel free to unmute yourselves. I'm looking, did I leave anyone out?
I'm remembering my grandfather, David Leonard Davis, David Laban Ben Meir Vimanya. Also recalling the memory of my grandmother, Fega Bas Chaika, Faye Berlin.
John Hirsch, we've been remembering Herbert.
Yes.
And Naftula.
Thank you, Arlene. Phil Perlman, is there anyone you want to remember?
Well, sure, my dear parents, Muriel and Bernie Perlman, my dear aunt and uncle, my Aunt Frieda and Uncle Leo, and also my Aunt Terry, who I loved so much.
Thank you so much, Phil. I'll add, Rabbi.
Rabbi,
Please, Elaine.
I also am thinking about the 550,000 people that died of COVID this year.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for adding them. And I'll add my dad, Ruvain Mayer, Ben Yehuda, Robert Feldman. Okay. Ivan, do you want to lead us all? If you'd like to rise, feel free to do so. And
Okay.
Ivan, if you'll lead.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash Rabba. V'amad divrei kirtei. Loch malchutei v'yechon v'yechon
V'chayei Beit Yisrael.
V'agala
Uzman Kavivimru. Amen.
Yehei
Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam Lo'amei Almaya.
Yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitpraman
V'yitnaseh.
v'yithadar
v'yithalel Shmei Kudesha B'chu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata pushpata v'nechmata damiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shloma rabba min shemayim v'chayim oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Aseh shalom v'imramav hu yaseh shalom oleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Aseh shalom v'imramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru
Amen, amen. May all of our loved ones, their memory be a blessing. Okay. We can turn to Havdalah. If you have your clay Havdalah, as it's called, your candle and your wine and your spices. I'm gonna light. I'll handle the Havdalah materials while the cantor leads us in the liturgy. And so, as I said, all of us, anyone who wants to light and has there, now's a good time to do it. We're ready.
Velo efchad ki yozi vezimrat yad v'Adonai v'yehi li Ushaftem mayim besason mimayne ha'yeshua l'Adonai Yeshua l'Adonai ha'yeshua alamecha birchatecha selah Adonai tzevot imanu misgav lanu Elohei Yaakov selah Adonai tzevot ashrei adam boteach bach Adonai Hoshia HaMelech Ya'aneinu Be'yom Kor'einu. And here's the part from the Megillah that we just read this week. La Yehudim Haita Ora V'Simcha וששון ויקר, כן תחיה לנו, כוס ישועות אשא, ובשם אדוני אקרא. Yai lai la 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 lai lai, yai lai la 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 lai lai, ya la la lai 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 la la lai la la lai, lai lai la 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 lai lai. Raise up your glass of grape juice or wine, whichever you have. Baruch atah Adonai.
Andrew, you need to unmute, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei beri hagafen, borei beri hagafen. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei minei vesamim, borei minei vesamim. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei meorei ha'esh, borei meorei ha'esh. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, ben or lechoshet, ben Yisrael לעמים, ben yom hashvi'i לששת ימי המעשה. ברוך atah Adonai המבדיל בין קודש לחול. La 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la.
Ben Kodesh l'chol chatotenu yimchol, Tzarenu b'chosbenu yarbekachol, b'chakol chavim b'alayla.
Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov. a good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera veyamenu, Yavo Eleinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Shavua Tov, everyone.
Shavua Tov. Have a
Shavua
wonderful.
Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Yeah.
Shavua
Shavua
Tov.
Tov.
Thank you.